What's up? I'm back. In this segment, I'm going to go into Avengers Decoded, finish that series. I'm going to hit Iron Man, Vision, and the Hulk at the same time. Same video, I mean. Iron Man is interesting because it was fitting that he was the most popular Avengers in the movies. And you could literally say right now, I still am I'm an iconic guy, so I would still have to say Batman, Superman, and Wolverine. And Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man are the big three. I would say for sure Iron Man is probably moved ahead of Wonder Woman. No, people will still say Wonder Woman is more iconic, but I think to be realistic, Iron Man probably is the fourth most popular superhero in the world at this point. It's interesting because spiritually, Iron Man is symbolic of when you go into the tarot cards, the Emperor. The armor in Iron Man is symbolic, and the Emperor usually is associated in tarot tradition with light and vision, right? And Iron Man has armor, but his armor has like a lot of yellow and gold at times, right? Well, yellow and gold or red depends on those colors, right? Usually kind of a reddish yellow type color, and in a sense, color is symbolic of the fact that when the person understands how color affects one's consciousness, including one's pineal gland or third eye, they will begin to realize that Iron Man is really like just how Captain America using the pentagram is kind of symbolic of the first Avenger. Iron Man is symbolic of when you can actually start to do work. What I mean by that is a lot of spiritual work includes colors, whether it's colors around you, whether it includes you envisioning colors, whether it includes some people looking at the moon and absorbing moonlight, whether it includes sun gazing, right? All that stuff is colors, and colors is energy, and energy is basically energy has different vibrations, different frequencies. So Iron Man is symbolic of the fact that the person who understands how to use color could actually use color to protect himself, to be honest, and could actually use colors to be able to change your consciousness to do certain types of spiritual work. This is why in the tarot cards, the devil card and the tower card, they're very dark cards. In terms of the background color is black. The background color is black is because the people on those cards are absent the knowledge of being able to use colors to change their condition for the better. So Iron Man, and that's why if you look carefully, Iron Man still doesn't have powers yet, right? He doesn't have powers. He uses armor, and armor enhances his, not even enhances his abilities. Armor has abilities: strength, guns, radar, the ability to fly, and that's symbolic of even though the person who's using colors uses colors to change their consciousness, and even sometimes to change or to activate certain bodily functions, they're still not 100% purified yet, hence the armor. That's why in the Emperor card in the tarot, he has armor on. And that's why when you start to go further in the cards, like when you go to the Star card and beyond, the people there don't have armor as much anymore. In fact, they're naked. The nakedness is more symbolic of the fact that they're now in a more perfected state. So even though colors is important to them, the colors now has been imprinted in their subconscious mind where they don't longer have to look up or think about red is this, blue is this, yellow is this. They'll be able to sense the energy itself and be able to move with the wave. It's a big difference. So in a sense, the true superhero with powers is kind of more the person who's purified, who's at the Star card and beyond. That's the difference. Now we move on to the Hulk. Hulk is interesting in the sense because he's kind of symbolic of the shadow mind. Out of control. Powerful, crazy powerful, but raw power. Only totally mindless. And he's really symbolic in the sense that this is sometimes a hard concept to people to understand. In Jungianism and in shamanism, certain types of traditions, they understand that the human has a shadow mind. You can look at the shadow mind as a mind that's formed because we're living in a society that doesn't understand that we're a part animal. And when we have certain thoughts, so what happens naturally is, because we don't realize we're part animal, we start to have certain thoughts, sensations that sometimes we're not even aware of because it's more in our animal mind, in our subconscious mind. But not being aware of it doesn't make it any less important. It still impacts our minds just like our conscious mind is doing it. So what happens is eventually it gets stored away for a long period of time. And then sometimes it explodes, right? It explodes into raw rage. And sometimes when a person's shadow takes over completely, that's where you get the serial killers and people who will do insane types of behavior in a way. And in a sense, it's because they didn't acknowledge those thoughts. So even things like, you know, a mother just giving birth to a child, she says, I wish the child was dead. Or sometimes she might say, I wish I killed a baby. That's terrible thoughts, but it's not terrible in the fact that people be judgmental. That's actually natural. You know, that's actually a natural condition that people have. And it's funny, it might only come once. It may come for a split second. It may not even come consciously. It may come when the person says, oh, you know, they may not even know it. It may just come where they just think about it subconsciously and they're not even aware of the thoughts. But it still registers in their mind. So when they're ashamed of those thoughts, when they deny that it exists, and that's just one example. I mean, some people say that with their bosses, right? Does that mean they're going to do it? No, it doesn't. But they don't even acknowledge that they have those thoughts. Just like a person who's cheating on their spouse or not cheating on their spouse, they haven't a thought about cheating on their spouse, then look down on the people who are physically doing it, but they have the thoughts too. It gets stored away. And in the mind, the more it gets stored away outside the reach of the conscious mind, because think of the conscious mind as the sun. So when it gets stored outside the reach of the sun or the conscious mind, it turns ugly. It turns into almost like a monster-looking creature. That's what the Hulk is. So the reason why the Hulk is, even though he's like that, he's also one of the most powerful Avengers, is because in shamanism, in certain types of spiritual traditions, the person learns to control their shadow. And learn to control the shadow just more means the fact that the human being is half divine, half animal. So the animal mind is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to embrace. But it's something to control or contain. And it's not supposed to be run the show, if that makes any sense. And when the person understands that, because a lot of people sometimes try to get rid of the animal mind, and that's not how it works. You embrace it, you contain it. And there's an energy that gets released from it. That's the difference. That's what the Hulk represents. Now when you move on to Black Widow, no, not Black Widow, the Vision. Vision's an interesting character. Android, you know, he could kind of go through walls. He has super strength. He could fly. Vision is, and in the movie Avengers, he was more of the good android. And this is symbolic of the fact that a lot of times people in the spiritual community try to run from technology. They try to run from the future. And it's not really about running from technology. It's about running from technology that when the person whose mind creates the technology, if the person is at a unevolved state, the technology will be at an unevolved state, meaning the technology will be limited, meaning the technology will be like, I have this laptop right now, the computer, I'm shooting this video with it. The radiation from the computer actually damages my chi, right? So after this video, I actually have to go and rebalance myself. That's technology built by a mind that was not evolved. But the Vision, being the good robot, he was good because I wouldn't say Iron Man was evolved. So obviously, Tony Stark wasn't, but it was a circumstance where, you know, it's kind of like human beings are a reflection of God, and God creates, so humans create. So Vision is more symbolic of the fact that a technological future is going to still be in our destiny eventually. It's not really something you can escape. It's kind of like, you know what it's like, this, because this is a sci-fi channel, Stargate. I remember one time they had a part of Stargate where there was a race called the Nox, right? Where the race was not technologically advanced at first. They were living in the forest, right? So when the humans met them, they thought they could do whatever they want with them. But then eventually, after intermingling with them, they saw this race was crazy advanced. They had like a part where they had their own cities, but they didn't really use it. But the city or the technology that they had was way more advanced than we were. So it's kind of like, you know, sometimes when you go to Japan and they got little parts, like it'd be like a regular city block, and then they have little parts, little parks, right? Like you turn a little corner, go through an entrance, and then all of a sudden you be in a nature-based park, and it'd be like a place where you say, wow, and it usually might be some cultural spot or something where they're preserving something, and you'd be like, this is in the city? And it's like a little oasis in the middle of hell, right? When you become really advanced, you understand the importance of having the city, but as well as keeping your planet mostly green. So when outsiders first look at it, they might see the green part first, right? But the city or the technology has its place. That's what Vision represents. Vision represents in the sense that technology is not the boogeyman, like a lot of spiritualists believe. It's something that becomes the boogeyman when you create it with a mind that's not evolved. Hate to go back to Stargate, but even in Stargate, there was a race called the Ori, and they had ships that responded to thoughts, right? That's the type of technology you're talking about, to be honest. Like, that's the type of technology that we're talking about. Technology that is part, or could assist you in your spiritual, I guess you could say, progress or evolution, but you're not dependent on it. So that's why Vision, at the end of the day, was able to hold Thor's hammer, because he ended up being more noble than every single Avenger, including Captain America. That's the difference. So that's the end of my Avengers series. Hope that helped. Till next time, peace.